Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a vast and magical forest known as the Enchanted Woods. This forest was unlike any other, filled with trees that sparkled like emeralds and flowers that sang the sweetest melodies. The animals of the Enchanted Woods were special too. They could talk and live in harmony, taking care of each other and their beautiful home. In this forest lived a little squirrel named Nutty. Nutty was small, even for a squirrel, with bright eyes and a bushy tail that was always fluffed up with excitement. Nutty loved exploring the forest, hopping from tree to tree, collecting acorns, and chatting with the other animals. But there was one thing that Nutty feared more than anything else: the dark hollow. The dark hollow was a gloomy part of the forest where the sun never seemed to shine. It was said that a terrible monster lived there, a creature so fearsome that even the bravest animals dared not venture near. The trees in the dark hollow were twisted and gnarled, and no flowers grew there. The air was thick with mist, and the ground was always cold and damp. One day, as Nutty was gathering acorns near the edge of the Enchanted Woods, he heard a faint cry for help. Nutty's ears perked up, and he listened closely. The cry came again, louder this time. It was coming from the direction of the dark hollow. Nutty's heart pounded in his chest. He knew he should run away, but something inside him wouldn't let him ignore the cry. Taking a deep breath, Nutty decided to be brave. "I have to help," he told himself. "Even if I'm small, I can still make a difference." The journey to the dark hollow. Nutty scampered towards the dark hollow, his little paws trembling with each step. As he approached, the forest grew darker and colder. The cheerful sounds of the Enchanted Woods faded away, replaced by an eerie silence. Who could be in such a place? Nutty wondered. But he didn't have time to think much longer, for the cry for help came again, louder and more desperate. Nutty followed the sound until he reached the edge of the dark hollow. There, he saw a beautiful white rabbit trapped under a fallen branch. The rabbit's fur was matted, and her eyes were wide with fear. "Help me, please," she cried. Without hesitation, Nutty rushed over to the rabbit. The branch was heavy, and Nutty knew he couldn't lift it alone. But he was clever, and he quickly came up with an idea. He scurried up a nearby tree and found a strong vine. Using his sharp teeth, he chewed through the vine and dragged it down to the branch. With all his might, Nutty tied the vine around the branch and pulled. It was hard work, but Nutty didn't give up. Slowly, the branch began to move. The rabbit wiggled free just as Nutty's strength gave out, and the branch crashed to the ground. "Oh, thank you. Thank you," the rabbit exclaimed, hopping up to Nutty and nuzzling him with gratitude. "I thought I would be trapped forever." Nutty smiled, though he was exhausted. "I'm glad I could help," he said, catching his breath. "But we need to get out of here. It's not safe. The monster of the dark hollow." Just as Nutty spoke, a deep, rumbling growl echoed through the hollow. The ground shook, and the mist thickened. Nutty and the rabbit froze in fear as a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. It was the monster of the dark hollow. The creature was enormous, with glowing red eyes and sharp, jagged teeth. Its fur was black as night, and it moved with a menacing grace. The monster growled again, its eyes locked on Nutty and the rabbit. The rabbit trembled with fear, but Nutty stood his ground. He knew they couldn't outrun the monster, but maybe, just maybe, he could reason with it. After all, everything in the Enchanted Woods had a heart, even this scary creature. "Please don't hurt us," Nutty said, his voice shaking but firm. "We don't mean you any harm." The monster stopped and looked down at Nutty, surprised by the little squirrel's courage. "You are not afraid of me?" the monster asked, its voice deep and gravelly. Nutty swallowed hard. "I am afraid," he admitted. "But I think you might be more than just a monster. Maybe you're lonely, or maybe you've been misunderstood. Whatever it is, I want to help you." The monster blinked, taken aback by Nutty's words. For a moment, the hollow was silent. Then, to Nutty and the rabbit's amazement, the monster began to shrink. Its fur turned from black to a soft gray, and its red eyes softened to a warm amber. The creature was no longer terrifying but rather a large, gentle-looking bear. "I was cursed by an old sorcerer long ago," the bear explained, his voice now gentle and sad. "He turned me into a monster and banished me to this hollow, where I've been alone ever since. Your kindness has broken the curse." The end of the dark hollow. Nutty and the rabbit couldn't believe their ears. The fearsome monster had been a lonely bear all along. Nutty felt a surge of happiness, knowing that his bravery had made such a difference. "We'll help you," Nutty said. "We'll tell the other animals about you, and you can come live with us in the enchanted woods. You don't have to be alone anymore." The bear smiled, a tear of gratitude in his eye. "Thank you, Nutty," he said. "I never thought I would be free again." With the curse broken, the dark hollow began to change. The twisted trees straightened, and flowers started to bloom where there had been none before. The mist lifted, revealing a beautiful landscape that had been hidden for so long. Nutty, the rabbit, and the bear returned to the enchanted woods, where they were greeted with joy by the other animals. The bear was welcomed into their community, and soon, everyone saw him for the kind and gentle soul he truly was. A new beginning. From that day on, Nutty was known as the bravest squirrel in the enchanted woods. He and the bear became close friends, and Nutty often visited the former dark hollow, which was now a place of light and beauty. The animals of the forest learned an important lesson, that kindness and courage can break even the strongest of curses. And as for Nutty, he never stopped exploring the woods, always ready to help a friend in need. And so, the enchanted woods remained a place of harmony and magic, where even the smallest creature could make the biggest difference. The end.